What is up, Eastern Oregon? This is Dodgy, and this is your sports show for Friday, January 20th, 2023. This is all brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Man, the Daggett family. It's that big red rocking chair on Elm off Adams in LeGrand. Go check out their showroom, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, right here in LeGrand. Not going to talk a lot today. It's senior day for LHS wrestling. It's pretty awesome. This wrestling team is good. The boys wrestling team is going to celebrate their seniors tonight, 6 p.m. LeGrand High School gym versus Baker. Get up there and support these guys. In honor of that, my guest today, he's a senior. He's Jared Isaacson. Here it is. Jared, how are you?
Pretty good. How about you?
Awesome. So let's start it off like this. It's your senior year. You went through a couple years of COVID, like all the seniors. You know, it's been a weird, rough high school career for you. But wrestling is your sport. How'd you get into wrestling?
Well, my dad and all of his brothers and my mom and all my mom's brothers were wrestlers, and so we've always wrestled since we were little. I've wrestled since I was like 4 years old, probably.
Yeah,
So
it's just like in your blood.
yeah, pretty much.
What other sports do you do?
Trap shooting and just trap shooting wrestling. I used to do a few others, but not anymore.
What's your favorite thing about wrestling?
I think it's just kind of the fight. It's just fun. You go out there and compete, and there's no one else to blame anything on. So when you mess up, you can't say it was one of your teammates or anything like that. It's all your fault if you fail. So
Right, it's a one-on-one accountability type thing.
yeah,
I really like the part that it's one-on-one, but it's also team. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like because it keeps other people engaged. You know, like it would be real easy to just like not kind of fall off of caring if there wasn't a team score
yeah,
overall.
exactly.
With wrestling, what like like it's been since you were 4 years old. When did you know that you loved it?
Probably about eighth grade year. That's when I started getting good at it. I was kind of terrible before then. Lost pretty much every match. My sixth grade year, I won two matches, and then my seventh grade year, I hit a tree while skiing, so I couldn't really wrestle. But eighth grade year is when it started to click a little bit, and I started winning matches, and then from there on, it's just gotten more and more fun. So,
That's funny. In middle school, I hit a tree while I was skiing too.
oh yeah,
Yeah, up at Anthony.
yeah, that's where I hit it too.
Yeah, I didn't really ski much after that.
Yeah,
It wasn't real fun for me.
yeah.
So what about trap shooting here? What do you like about that?
It's just kind of a nice, relaxing one. You don't have to do a whole lot. It's just a fun one to end the year on because you just get to go out there, have fun, hang out with friends, and shoot stuff. So it's
Yeah,
hard to
there's
beat.
nothing wrong with that, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like pineapple on pizza?
I do. Yeah.
What's your favorite food?
I don't know. I like a lot of different foods,
Well,
but
if mom's is cooking, like what are you asking for? She says, "What do you want for dinner?" What
well,
are you asking for?
I don't know. Most of the time, my dad's the one that cooks more of the food that's
Okay, if
fancy and
dad's
stuff.
cooking.
A lot of times, something like shrimp gumbo is really good. So
Shrimp gumbo?
yeah,
You're a shrimp gumbo dude.
yeah, it's good.
I mean, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one or the other, would you rather be on a tropical island or up in the mountains?
Up in the mountains.
Why?
I don't know. That's just kind of where I've always had fun with my family and stuff. Got a lot of good memories in the mountains, and it's just cool up there. So,
What's your favorite thing about Eastern Oregon?
um, probably the hunting and fishing.
Yeah, we have pretty good hunting and fishing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that's my favorite. It's one of the great parts. My favorite thing about Eastern Oregon is the people for sure. Like
yeah, that's definitely a
it's
good one.
you can't really beat it.
Yeah,
Um if you had to choose one or the other, would you rather be blind or be deaf?
deaf for sure.
Why?
Because when you're blind, like it's you can't hunt or anything like that because you can't see anything. But when you're deaf, you can still see things, and I feel like sight's a more interactive
Yeah.
sense than uh, sound.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't be able to listen to music.
Yeah, exactly.
It
I
would
mean,
be it would be hard for me. Like I would
yeah.
be kind of a toss up. Um, what's the last song that you listened to on your playlist?
I think it was What was it? Curse of Curves. That's what it was.
What was it?
Curse of Curves.
By who?
I'm not sure. I just
Is
know
it
it's a punk rock
country?
song.
It's a punk
It's
rock
punk
song?
rock, yeah.
If you're like warming up for wrestling outside of Eye of the Tiger, obviously that's what we run out to.
Yeah.
What are you listening to? What gets you pumped?
Sometimes it's country. A lot of the time though, it's just rock. Depending, like sometimes it's 80s rock, other times it's kind of heavier rock, other times it's punk. So it just depends.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'd like to do something like law enforcement, something like that. That kind of stuff's always interested me. So
Are you going to go to college?
I don't want to. No.
You don't want. Well, you have to go to school to be a cop.
Yeah, that is true. I'm gonna try and avoid it though. I might go into a trade. A few of my brothers are in trades and they like it a lot. So
You're not about keeping going to school.
no, not at all.
You're like I'm almost done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Nice. If you had to choose one or the other, would you rather like? So we talked about being stuck on the island. This one's a little bit tougher. Would you rather fight a bear, like a big old bear, or a lion?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, you're in a life or death.
Yeah, I think they both kicked the crap out of me pretty good. So
yeah. Well, which one do you think you'd have a better chance against?
Maybe a bear.
You do?
I think I'd die either way, but
yeah, you're in trouble.
Oh yeah, for sure. But probably a bear.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been that guy just recently. He survived a grizzly bear attack, and
yeah, exactly.
I mean, at least you got a chance, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably not a great chance, but at least a little bit of a chance.
Yeah.
What's your goals for wrestling this year? We're about halfway, a little bit more than halfway through.
Yeah, about 3/4 of the way. I think
3/4 of the way. What's your goal?
My goal this year is to place in state, so should have a good chance of it. Last year, I lost out in the blood rounds last year, so if I would have just won one more match, I would have got it. But
so placing in state is top what, 6?
Yeah, top 6.
Top 6. What's the team goal?
I think we're hoping to win it this year. I mean, we've won it the last 3 out of the last 2 or the 3 last years. We got second the other year, and we're going to win it this year again, hopefully. So,
yeah, we got a good chance.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a pretty darn good chance. So where do you see yourself 10 years from now? Like like we talked about, not going to school, maybe being a cop, but what's your life look like 10 years from today?
Hopefully married with a few kids at least. So
how many you want?
Probably 4 to 7, something like
4
that.
to 7. Yeah. That's a lot of kids. You want a whole basketball team?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I got 3 siblings, and that's a handful, man.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, to each their own. If you want 7 kids,
oh yeah,
it's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah, it is.
So this wrestling team this year, we talked a little bit off camera about the 2 teams that are going to give us probably the most trouble, Crook County and Sweet Home. We've wrestled both of them. Were they both at the Classic?
Yeah, they were. We didn't wrestle Sweet Home because Crook County beat Sweet Home,
and then we beat Crook County.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's duels, right? So that's a little bit different than state when you're talking about how many people qualify. Yeah,
that just shows that our best kids at each weight. That shows that those number 1 kids are all better than theirs. But if a lot of times at state, it comes down to your second person at each weight because
absolutely,
because if you've got that person, if you got all your weights that only have 1 strong kid, but the other team has 2 strong kids at every weight, then they'll win it. So
so we got to get as many guys as possible into that state tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you excited for it? It's your senior year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Should be
what kind of emotions for tonight for senior night?
Just excited. It'll be fun. Go out there, wrestle.
Get recognized. Get to give mom a rose.
All that stuff. Yeah.
And this is the only sport outside of trap that you play. So this is your only senior night, really.
Yeah, exactly.
man, enjoy it, embrace it. It's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, it's like, it's almost like the thank you to your parents for, helping you get through, your 4 years of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it really is, because parents sacrifice a lot for their kids to play sports.
Yeah, they do.
Last question, then I'll get you out of here. If I was a wrestler, around, a high school age wrestler, why should I come wrestle at LeGrand?
We're just better than everyone, I guess. I mean, we're the best program in the state right now. We've got a great coaching staff. The team's super cool. Everyone gets along fairly well. And I mean, you've got friends in the whole thing. And I mean, you're going to learn a lot more here than you will a lot of other places. So
Thanks. Eastern Oregon, he's LHS senior wrestler Jared Isaacson. I'm Dozzy. Jared, I appreciate you.
Yep. Thank you.
Nice interview. Good kid, man. Let's go tonight, LHS Wrestling. We should handle Baker. My next guest, they're in Moscow, Idaho this weekend, and I mean, he's had numerous All-Americans. He's the longest tenured coach at EOU. His son works right here for EOAlive. He's a great human being. He's EOU head track and field and cross country coach Ben Welch. Here it is. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. That made me feel even older than I am, but sometimes I don't know how I got to this point.
What year are you in?
This is 32 for, total. It's 21 for track, but it's for head track, but head cross and everything. It's 32 already.
32 years.
Yeah. Not sure how I got to be that old.
You were coaching 20 years before Benny was even born, or no, 12 years before Benny was even born, or 10.
Yeah, I got here 9 years before he was born.
9 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
I got here the fall of 91.
That's when I moved here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I moved to Eastern Oregon. That was my 8th grade year. No, 7th grade year. That's great. How'd you end up at Eastern Oregon?
Well, I had the previous head track coach, John Spatz. He and I were college teammates and roommates, and he ended up as the head track coach here in 90. And I was up in the Seattle area, and he knew I didn't like Seattle. And when Gary Fiesel, the previous distance coach, retired, John brought me down here. And here I am all those years later.
You ran track. He ran track at Kansas with you?
No, we were at Spokane.
Oh,
at Spokane Community College, and then we actually both went back to Division II, Nebraska Omaha. And then when that program got cut, and during the mid '80s, there were a lot of programs, a lot of sports getting cut. And I ended up at Kansas, and he ended up back out west at Eastern Washington. And he came down here as a grad assistant and ended up taking the program over. So, and I came down here as assistant and met his other assistant and married her, and here I am.
All right. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Wasilla, Alaska. I was born and raised up there. So
in Wasilla, Alaska.
Never planned on living anywhere else until I got here.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Eastern Oregon?
I like the physical environment real well. So I grew up in mountain country, in a big valley surrounded by mountains, and I really like that. I spent 5 years in the Midwest, and when I graduated college, every state line I crossed, I got more excited that I was getting closer to mountain country, and popped out on the high plains one time and could see the mountains and really got excited. So vowed I'd never live anywhere else without mountains. So I just like the environment. I like the people around here. There's a lot of good things about the place in the area.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's the people and the physical environment. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah,
we live in one of the most beautiful places in the country.
Yeah, it's very fortunate.
Track and field, cross country wise, what did you run? What were your events?
I was actually mostly a cross country guy and a 5,000, 10,000 meter guy. I would drop down and run the mile sometimes, but really my best events were the longer stuff, believe it or not. I was a lot lighter back then than I am now. I was a little oversized for a distance runner, but it was still, lung capacity and lack of foot speed, that's where I was. So, but I like the longer races because I love the strategic component of it, and just the fact that if you're slightly demented and extremely stubborn, you could beat a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that distance running isn't just going out there and running.
It's not
There's
just run,
strategy
rabbit,
to it.
run. Yeah, it's not really run, rabbit, run for sure. So there's a tremendous amount of thought process that goes into it, and that's what I always liked about the longer races. So I was kind of fortunate that physiologically that suited me well too.
Let's talk about this year's indoor team first. Where are we at in the indoor season?
Almost right smack in the middle. We're actually doing more this year, and I'll get to that a little bit than we normally do. So we've had we did a December meet. We started doing that a few years ago, and with the growth of the team, that became a little bit more important with everybody that does all the the non-distance people that aren't racing all fall. That gives them a measure where they're at before they go home for break. We sent a small group up to Washington in that beautiful facility up there last week. This is our first bigger group, and then next week, well, we're 5 weeks in a row. So yeah, we're hitting it hard now. So and in that are 2 home events. So first ever one's in the field house. So the first actual ever indoor meets in an actual indoor track facility in the state of Oregon.
Really?
Yeah. So there's never been a full track facility in the state of Oregon. They used to set up temporary one in the old Rose Garden, little 150-yard roller derby of a track. Those were fun. They were nuts, but they were fun. Yeah. But as far as an actual facility that's laid out on a permanent basis for an indoor track, that just dawned on me that this will actually be the first one of those ever in the state of Oregon that wasn't a temporary facility.
When does that happen?
February 4th.
February 4th.
Yeah, and then we'll do another one on the 17th and 18th. That one may end up just being the 18th. It depends on what other teams coming in needs are and our needs are. That's our last chance qualifying weekend for NAI to qualify for NAI Nationals.
Right.
So we want to set that up for people to be as successful as possible, but also run it as efficiently as possible. So it's exciting stuff. I haven't been around actually running indoor track meets since 1988.
That's a long time.
Yeah, my last year at Kansas. So it was the last time I was involved in actually running an indoor track meet. So
that's cool. Yeah. And let me explain for the viewers so they understand. During the indoor season, there's just qualifying marks, right?
Correct.
So you don't have the CCC championship where you can automatically qualify. You just have to hit certain marks during the indoor season to qualify for nationals.
Yeah, exactly. So there's what they call an A and a B standard. The A standard's the automatic. When you hit that, you're good. The B standard, you may get in, you may not get in. So, but we've already got a couple of A's and a couple of B's, so it's kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, it's no placement in like a conference meet or anything. It's like that outdoor too. In outdoor, we have a conference meet outdoor, but you don't advance to nationals out of it. It's really that serves as our last chance qualifier and conference bragging rights.
Yeah. Which is in this conference, that's huge.
Yeah. It's
a tough conference.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
So how many athletes do you have this year?
We are, let's see, we had a couple graduate winter term, so I have to think about it for a second. I think and we picked up a couple that term. We're at 76 right now.
So that's almost as many as football. So it's like the second biggest team at the school.
Oh, by far. Yeah. So we're in the mid to upper 40s on the men's side, and then we're in the mid to low 30s on the women's side this year. Usually we're a little more balanced, but the last few years there's just been, with all the COVID stuff, there's just been it just kind of decimated the high school girls ranks. But we've been very fortunate on the men's side. We were at 48 fall term on the men's side, and then, like I say, a couple of guys graduated. One of them was a distance guy, and one of them was a very good pole vaulter that was originally we thought we were going to have. But
Who, Darian?
Yeah.
I just saw him the other day.
Yeah. So we thought we could make it work out, but it ended up being where he just needed to graduate because that was the best thing for him. So
Hey, it happens.
Absolutely.
That's one of the NAIA things, right? Like,
yeah. So no, he was a tremendous asset, but it's also school's not cheap. So you can graduate and get on with your life.
So what's your biggest challenge as a coach?
Managing the numbers, finding enough help to manage the numbers. I'm fortunate in the help I have, but when usually we're sitting right around between 75 and 85, average about 80. And even when there's 2 full-time people, that's a lot of people to manage, especially being in season, in cross-country season from the end of August to the end of November, and then going right straight into indoor and right straight from indoor to outdoor. So really we're almost in season from the end of August to the last weekend of May to Memorial Day weekend. So, and managing that many people with 2 people is one of the biggest challenges. And some of that's just recruiting, academic oversight, all of those things. It just takes time. It is what it is, but it takes time. The ever increasing costs of school is a problem. And a lot of people, you guys are so cheap. It's like, yeah, not really. And we're less expensive than everybody else, which doesn't mean we're not that we're inexpensive.
Yeah.
And that for me, that's a little more of a conscious thing. It's if school's not so inexpensive that people can afford to come and have no, and completely find direction. Right. Like old guys, like back in your day, like when you came out of school's still cheap enough that if you experimented a little bit and it didn't go great, you weren't in debt up to your eyeballs.
For sure. My junior college, Ben, down in California, once I was a resident, so my first year there, I paid $111 a credit.
Yeah.
My second year there, I paid $11.
I'm saying that everybody's probably like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're paying that much." Yeah,
$11 a credit my second year. So it definitely has changed extremely.
Well, in 2000, tuition was $2,000,
right?
Because then we still had the full academic tuition waiver scholarships. And then by 2007 or so, it was up to 4,000.
Yeah, it doubled.
Yeah, and now I don't even know what we are now, close to 9. That's not counting fees. So, a student used to be able to work 10 hours a week and pay their tuition and fees and some of their other expenses. And I haven't checked this for a few years ago, but I know about 6-7 years ago, that number was 35 hours a week to cover the same stuff.
Wow, which is impossible if you're an athlete.
Yeah, you're basically a full-time employee if you're trying to do that.
Right.
So it's I'm very grateful that my children decided to stay home.
Yeah. Right. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
The people you work with.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see. My wife used to say, that when because my wife coached, she was coaching here when I got here, and then she coached here off and on. But then she also coached middle school and high school. And one thing she said she liked about the coaching college athletes was you got young adults and they left as adults. So you got old kids to young adults. Because in high school, you get kids and they graduate as older kids. And in college, you get young adults, and some of them are more kids than others, and some of them are more adults than others. But she says that about me. But actually, she calls me a cartoon character, but a giant cartoon character. But at any rate, people find direction, and that's a tremendous, tremendous thing. So
Yeah,
I was one of those
absolutely.
people. Came in as just a goofy hillbilly out of Alaska and found my calling and my profession through college, and really through my college coach at Kansas was the one who gave me direction. And here I am all those years later.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, if Ben Welch is gonna relax, say a Sunday afternoon, what and he's gonna put a song on, what song are you playing?
Oh, probably something by Don Williams.
Don Williams?
So yeah, the gentle giant they used to call him.
Yeah. What about food wise? You like pineapple on pizza?
Yes, I do.
What's your favorite food? Like, if you could have anything on the planet, right? Like, what is it?
Got to go with steak and potatoes.
Yeah, how do you beat that, right?
Yeah, started out life on a dairy farm, man. That's although when
All
we were
right,
kids, a lot of times it was moose meat and potatoes. But
we got a couple more questions, and I'll get you out of here. What's the goals for track and field this year?
well, we've had to make a few adjustments with a couple of different things happening on the guys' side, but part of it's to get as many people to nationals and have them place at nationals and indoor. But indoor, we really treat as a building block towards outdoor. Uh, Win conference again on the men's side outdoor. We've won the last two. Technically, we tied in 21 for the win, but won it outright last year. So
Yep.
hoping for a three-peat. And then same thing with nationals to see if we can get as many back there as we can and be as competitive as possible. Love to be in the top 10, but with a few things that happen, like with graduations and a few things of that nature. If we can get in the top 10, that would be really pretty good. So,
Yeah.
but try and get as many All-Americans as possible. And so just
Which we will have some All-Americans.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. We've got a number of them back. So, Maggie Ledbetter, who oddly enough is a distant relative of my wife.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is. She's a neat person. So
Michelle Hervis break the school mile record last week. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, that record was held by somebody who was an All-American when she ran that time.
Who was it? Your wife? Your wife?
No. Yeah, no. She didn't. She broke out in a rash thinking about running over 800.
Yeah.
She was an heptathlete though, so she had to run the 8. So, but a gal named Grande Godwin back in 2004, and she actually set.
She was an All-American that year.
Yeah. Yep. Set that record at the national meet to, I think it was 5th. So
is it an 8? Is it an A time?
It's actually funny enough. It's like about 6 inches short. It's 0.1. It was 0.17 off the A, but she's ranked like 5th or 6th right now in the NAI.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
Yeah, she's
all right.
Always figures out how to get it done.
Last question. I always like to ask coaches this: when somebody commits to come run track and field or cross country at EOU, what's the first thing that you say to them as a commit? Not trying to get them to come,
right,
but once they're committed and they're here, what has Ben saying to Dodsey when Dodsey's coming to throw the shot?
It really kind of depends on the individual, to be honest. And a lot of them, it's welcome to the track and field and the EOU family. So, and there is let's get ready to tear some things up.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, or as Carly Coffey used to say, "Let's rip some legs off."
I know her. She's been on my show.
There's an example.
She's been on here.
Champion, so she ripped some legs off down through the years. So,
absolutely.
That you got to say that to the right person.
Right.
But, yeah, so,
that's cool.
But mostly it's welcome to the family. So
I love it.
Words of that effect. So
nice. Eastern Oregon. He's EOU men and women's head track and field and cross country coach, Ben Welch. Ben, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
No, always a pleasure. Always enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it, man. I always appreciate a good conversation with you. None of this is possible, though, without Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Like I said, the Daggett family, man, go check out their beautiful showroom of American-made furniture. They have everything you could possibly need for your house there. I mean, furniture-wise, decoration-wise. Go check it out. Eastern Oregon. That's all I got for you on a Friday. Thank God it's Friday. I'm Dodzy. I appreciate you, and I'm out.